Assalamualaikum students, this is Ms. Veena. I am here again with the remaining lecture of the chapter Defense Against Disease. Let's have a short review of the previous lecture. We studied that our body has many ways of defending itself against viruses, bacteria and other germs that give our body natural immunity against infection. Our respiratory and digestive tracts produce mucus which traps germs and prevent them from infections. Our skin produces sebum, oily substance which keeps our skin waterproof and so protected from diseases. So all these phenomena were studied last time, that there are many different ways in which our body protects us from the germs and bacteria. Now today we are going to discuss immune system in detail. The organs and processes of the body that provide resistance to infection and toxins is called immune system. So this is a very important system of our body as a digestive system and respiratory system. This system involves all those cells and parts of the body that will help prevent our body from diseases and infections, and they will capture the germs and bacteria and kill them. So this system is called immune system because it makes us immune towards diseases. Bacteria, viruses and other germs have substances called antigens on their surface. When our body detects antigens, white blood cells called lymphocytes send out chemicals called antibodies. Whenever any germ or any foreign bacteria enters our body, that bacteria will be having antigens. That antigen will be detected by our body. What is an antigen? Antigen is basically a molecule or a substance made up of protein or carbohydrate, and this substance is foreign or it's new for the body because it has come from the external environment. Therefore, whenever any antigen or any bacteria enters our body, this will immediately be detected by our immune system, which consists of white blood cells, and then the white blood cells type, that is lymphocytes, will produce antibodies. Antibodies are those proteins which are helpful to neutralize the effect of that particular antigen. So antibodies are of different types depending upon the type of antigen. Antibodies combine with the antigen. This kills the germs by making them burst or stick together, or by making it easier for phagocytes to eat them. So once the antibody is made, that antibody will attack the antigen. It will be combined with the antigen, and this will result in making the antigen stick together, or it will be burst, or it will be killed, or the phagocytes will eat that antigen. Each type of germ needs a different antibody to kill it. So it depends on the type of antigen or the type of germ which is entered into the body. For that particular antigen, the body will produce antibodies. Some antibodies called antitoxins can destroy the poisons or toxins which germs produce. So some antibodies have the ability that they can also destroy the toxic substances which are produced by the germs, which will help us make ill. Once an antibody is made, it can stay in our body for several years, making us immune to further attacks from the germs it destroys. So once our body has made any particular antibody, it can stay in our body for many years, and whenever some other time that same germ will enter our body, then we will not get ill because we already have that particular antibody. So antibodies remain in our body. As you can see in this picture, that this red colored substance is the antigen or bacteria, and this green colored Y shaped substance is antibody. So you can see that the end of the antibody is somewhat folded, and this is exactly in the same way as the antigen has the edges. So it can fit over there, and in this way it can arrest the antigen from moving and multiplying. Here's one more diagram where you can see what happens in our immune system. Harmful things enter the body. You can see the virus and bacteria pictures over here. And then antibodies mark harmful things as bad, whatever is harmful for us. That will be detected by the immune system. And then immune cells attack the harmful things by producing the antibodies, which will attack the antigens and neutralize their effect. And the phagocytes will eat those germs. This was our immune system. Now let's discuss artificial immunity. What is artificial immunity and how can we produce it in our body? We don't have to catch a disease to make antibodies against it. We can be given a vaccine which makes our body produce antibodies, so we are ready to fight off an infection before the germs arrive. So a vaccine contains either dead germs, harmless germs, or a harmless germ toxin. We don't have to get a disease to produce its antibodies in our body. It is not necessary that if we will be ill, then the antibody will be produced in our body. We can have the vaccination of that particular germ from the doctors, and the vaccination will help us to produce that antibody in our body, and that antibody will remain in our body for several years. So what happens is a vaccine consists of either dead germs of that particular disease or the harmless germs or harmless germ toxin. So any type of substance which can cause us disease is present in vaccine, and once it has entered in our body, the body will start working to produce antibodies. When we are vaccinated, our lymphocytes make antibodies just as if real germs had got into our body. So it produces the antibodies exactly in the same way as if the real germs have entered in our body. First vaccination of cowpox. One of the first people to use vaccine was Edward Jenner. In the early 19th century, he proved that people who caught a mild disease called cowpox were then immune to a killer disease called smallpox. So this was an experiment conducted by Edward Jenner in the early 19th century. What did he do was he scratched the skin of a healthy boy and rubbed pus from a girl with cowpox into the wound. The boy caught cowpox. Cowpox is a mild disease. It is not very deadly, but this disease is an infectious disease which transmits from cows towards humans, and it can cause us fever, sore throat, and vomiting. And on the contrary, smallpox is a deadly disease. It is very dangerous, and it can cause us very high fever, vomiting, flu, and scars and blisters in our body. So what did he do was he took the piece of the pus from a girl which was having cowpox. So one girl was infected with cowpox. So he scratched the skin of a healthy boy and rubbed pus from a girl. So he took a small substance from the infection or from the wound of the girl having cowpox, and it was introduced into the boy's skin. As a result, the boy caught cowpox. When he recovered, Jenner inoculated him with pus from a smallpox victim, but the boy did not catch this disease. So after some days, when the boy recovered, later he inoculated him with pus from a smallpox victim. So in the second time, he took a small substance from the victim of smallpox and introduced in the same boy's body. But in this time, the boy did not catch this disease. What was the reason? We now know that cowpox and smallpox germs have the same antigens, so the boy's body already contained the right antibodies to fight off the smallpox infection. So previously, when the cowpox substance from the infected person was introduced in the boy's body, at that time the body produced the right antibodies for those antigens, and the antigens of cowpox and smallpox are same. Therefore, the boy did not get smallpox, so he became immune. The remaining questions of the chapter are describe two ways your blood fights germs. Question number 2, define antigens and antibodies. And last question is draw a neat and labeled diagram to show our body's chemical weapons. It can be seen on page number 219. Thank you, students. Here your final term syllabus is ended. Complete all the questions in the journals, learn the chapter, go through the remaining chapters, the previous chapters, all the chapters, and then solve them by yourself. Thank you, students. Allah Hafiz.